Let's get started.
Let's start.
So, before we dive real deep into the topics that we have set for today, I want to make sure our audience knows who we are. You know, right now we're a couple of Joe Schmoes, so to speak,
that's exactly
into this,
right.
and we want to make some changes on that. We want to start some conversations, particularly revolving around the pet waste removal industry. So, This is the start of the Pet Waste Millionaire podcast. I'm Ben Gonzalez, training and development manager at Scoop Soldiers and producer on this podcast. And I'm going to let you, my friend, introduce yourself and start to tell us a little bit more about the purpose of this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm EJ McCoy, co-founder of Scoop Soldiers and CEO at the moment. And with my business partner, Mr. Cahill, we call him, at Scoop Soldiers, we call him the General. So you might hear me call him Mr. Cahill. You might hear me call him the General. But along his side, we have built a business the last 11 years here in the pet waste industry. We've been, in a lot of ways, quiet observers. We've expanded a lot, but we haven't really, I in particular, have not really introduced myself to the industry. And I want to introduce myself. I want to get involved. I want to help the industry. I want to help watch the industry evolve. I believe in this industry, and I believe that we're in a unique period for this industry. We'll look back in decades from now, just like you can look back in other industries decades. In decades from now, we'll look back in this industry and we'll see that this was something that was very much so in its infancy, and still has a lot of growth. Yeah,
I believe that. So if we were to narrow down who we're trying to speak to, who would that be?
A mixture of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. So first and foremost, I would say who we're talking to is pet waste removal entrepreneurs. Second to that, I would say aspiring pet waste. I want to bring more people into this industry. I believe, and I'll talk about this more throughout this podcast, but I truly believe that this industry, and this is an easy test. You take 10 pet owners, 10 dog owners, in any of all demographics and all over this country. And out of those 10, at most you're going to have 5. We've all experienced this in this industry. Anybody that's been in this industry for any length of time has experienced this. But you take those 10 dog owners, half of them don't even know that this industry exists.
Yeah.
Half of them. And all that is opportunity in my mind. And so we as an industry need to do more, and I want to help do more, both within the industry and within my own business, to scream that as loud as I can to as many people as I can. That, hey, this industry does exist. We have a service to provide, a convenience to you. We can give you your time back. And if half of pet owners know we exist, we need to get the other half to exist. And in that is opportunity, not just for our business, but for the industry. And so I want to bring in aspiring pet waste business owners and entrepreneurs. And then more broadly than that, the skilled trade as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm in multiple other businesses in the skilled trades. It's not just pet waste removal for me. It's all skilled trades. Pet waste just happens to be one that we've been most successful with up to this point. But we're growing through other brands in other skilled trades. And so I want to talk, and I'm talking to both skilled trades that could enter this industry as a secondary business, but also as we talk further, just bringing in and tying in the pet waste industry, which is part of the pet industry as a whole, but tying that into the skilled trades industry, whether it's lawn care and landscaping providers, which is more of my background, all the way to HVAC and plumbers and some of the more evolved skilled trades.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Technical, I should say, skilled trades.
Yeah, making waves in the industry.
Yes, you mentioned waves. I love the saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. And again, our industry is in its infancy. And if we can grow the industry, we can lift all the boats.
Yeah.
And the bigger the boat you've got, the better you're going to be off. And that's what I'm counting on and betting on. And so I believe I think we can find mutually beneficial ways to help the industry, but to also help our business.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the vision of what you hope to succeed in for this industry. Tell us about your start.
It's 2010, and I am in my 20s. So 2010, I'm somewhere around 25, 26 years old. I've got a little mowing business. I have been married about a year and a half. I'm about to have my first child. I had my son is 10 years old, 10 and a half years old. And I am running a little business, a landscape business, as I mentioned. And I had bought a house not far from where we're still at, our headquarters is still at. And in the shopping center of that headquarters, or near that headquarters, was 3 company pet waste removal trucks, a competing franchise business. So a nationwide franchise business, one of their franchisees lived down the road from our headquarters for our mowing business, and they stored their trucks on a major street, and I'd have to drive by those things every day. And before that, about 5 years before that, I had lived in Colorado, and I had printed for door hangers for my mowing business. On the back of them, I had printed that we could scoop poop as well, because I thought there was something to it. And 5 years before that, so a decade before we started, I was introduced to it through my dad's good buddy that was a fireman. My dad was a fireman. His good fireman buddy had started a pet waste business. He had gone and gotten hats and shirts, and it kind of died from there. He was going to do this part-time and got excited, got the shirts and the hats made, but then really never took it anything beyond that. Never really did anything with it. I don't know that he ever even got a client.
Sure.
But that seed was planted way back when I was in high school 20 years ago through that fireman that had started. And then a few years later, I had tried doing it, and I'd gotten a customer or two in Colorado. And then fast forward 5 more years, these trucks are sitting here, and I'm having to drive by them every day. And I'm thinking, this is a business that I can tie to my mowing business, but it's a separate business. I always looked at it as a separate business. And that is, at the time we started this business, is when the general, Mr. Cahill, and I partnered together, my longtime business partner. And he and I started, and we started the mowing. He was going to work at the mowing business that I had already been running for about 5 years, and then we were going to partner on this, and he was going to help build this kind of part-time until it needed to become full-time.
Yeah.
And you could say the rest is history from there. We got started.
Sure. So let me bring it back just a little bit. What makes you think this is a great opportunity to just go and scoop poop?
Because I was mowing yards, and it ties in, kind of. Doesn't, but it does. So that's the root of it was, well, it's another service like mowing that you can go to somebody's house and you can do it. Now, again, I was never thinking, I can remember thinking even being years into my business. It was probably 2013, and we had, I don't know, maybe a few hundred clients at most. And I can remember not being able to comprehend the concept of having 2,000 customers or even 1,000 customers. Like, I remember telling Josh one night, we used to talk for hours and hours, as friends, because we're great friends as well. And we would talk informally. And I can remember us talking about how the concept of 1,000 clients in the pet waste business for us would have been a dream come true, or even 2,000. And we couldn't comprehend beyond that. And that wasn't that long. It wasn't that long after that we actually started to see some things a little differently. We started to see the scalability here. We started to see it as an actual full-time, this is a profitable full-time multi-million-dollar potential business. We didn't see that on day one. On day one, it was, hey, we can slap this on the back of a door hanger for our mowing business. And if there's this company here with 3 trucks, and it's a franchise, it's not like it's just a guy that happened to get lucky right here locally that's built a business with 3 trucks. This is a nationwide thing. There's something to this, and they weren't there was at that time there was multiple nationwide brands, and then there was a whole lot of small brands, and that's basically still what you have today. But yeah, seeing those trucks. I mean, I'm not a very original entrepreneur. I see something, and then I think I can do that. I didn't necessarily invent it by any means. And those that did, I look to and say, thank you, because you showed me it can be done. And yeah, now I can do it. And I hope I can do the same for others.
Yeah.
In the same, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, the opportunity in this industry.
And now we're over 10,000 clients.
Literally this week. So that didn't necessarily wasn't planned to be happening at the exact same time that we finally planned this podcast, the introduction to this podcast. But we surpassed 10,000 clients this week. That's complete system-wide Scoop Soldiers. That's franchises as well as corporate.
Yep.
But 10,000 clients. First company to pass that. So all combined, our companies have over 20,000 clients. We've got 3 companies, and all combined, we're actually over 20,000.
Yeah.
But Scoop Soldiers at the moment is winning the race on total client count.
There's something to this.
Absolutely.
There's something to it.
Absolutely. There's something to it. And I think that there's so much more opportunity. That's what I told our team. Onward. We're Scoop Soldiers, so we try to keep the military theme, and so I say onward, because 10,000. Well, I love to celebrate, but I like to celebrate for about 30 seconds and then move on. And 100,000, 1 million. What is the limit? How many dogs are out there? I mean, that's the beauty in it.
Yeah. Awesome.